Dear friends, we continue with the course, How to Transform Negative Emotions. And today, I will continue exploring how changing the attitude matters, how we can actually transform our negative emotions when we change our attitude. So in this class, I would like to tell you an amazing story. And this is a story of a man from the city of Avanti. And they actually called him Avanti Brahmana. So, who is Avanti Brahmana? He was actually a very wealthy man, a very rich man, who was actually also very greedy and very stingy. Although he had great wealth, he didn't want to spend it for anything, not even for his family, not even for himself. He was just hoarding all this money. But somehow or other, due to providence, due to so many different factors, he gradually lost all his wealth. Everything was gone. And because he was already very unpopular with his family, because of his stinginess and unkindness, his family members actually did not like him at all because he was never kind to them. And they were only tolerating him because of his wealth. But since he lost all his wealth, they became openly inimical towards him. And finally, they threw him out of the house. So there he was. He was on the street. He was without a penny, completely rejected by everyone. And what happened next? So now you may ask, oh, how did he feel? Well, yes, he felt terrible. He felt devastated. He had all those emotions that any one of us would have in such a situation. However, not for a long time. Because after some time, he started contemplating and he started meditating, and his previous spiritual knowledge and understanding reawakened. Because previously, he was studying the ancient spiritual books, and he actually had a lot of spiritual knowledge. So at that point, he actually got a very deep realization within his heart, and he experienced a great sense of detachment. Detachment from his situation, detachment from the wealth, which was anyway gone. But he became detached from the wealth, and also detachment from his family. They anyway rejected him. And he actually started to sing a song, which is known as the Song of Avanti Brahmana. And in this song, he was actually singing and presenting the very, very deep philosophical, spiritual knowledge, which actually describes how, what is the true reality of everything that we experience in this world, and how there is nobody who is really guilty for our own misfortune or suffering. And also about the power of the mind, how the mind is that force which makes us feel in all kinds of different ways, as long as we are not able to discipline it, to have control over. So he was singing this song. And what did he do? He decided that he will become a monk, a mendicant, so that he will just renounce this world, just become a mendicant. And he was very, very happy. His consciousness became very elevated on the spiritual platform. And he started traveling around. And he lived like a monk. So he was just, for his food, he would just beg here and there. And whatever he would get, he would partake. And you could think, oh, so very nice. So this is now the end of the story. Happy end. But no, the story does not end here. You know what happened? As he was traveling like this, somehow or other, he attracted all kinds of really mean, rowdy people. And these people were abusing him with harsh words. They were threatening him. They were making fun of him. Oh, what a sage. Just look at him. And they would steal his food. They would, sometimes they would urinate on his food. Sometimes they would beat him up. They would even put him in chains like a pet animal. They were causing him a lot of suffering, just ridiculing him. But he understood that there is a higher cause for all this suffering. He actually understood that when one takes a spiritual path, like a really potent, authentic spiritual path, then all kinds of results of his previous actions are still coming. So this is what was happening to him. He understood this and he just continued to sing his song. And by doing this and contemplating this higher spiritual knowledge, he kept his intelligence fixed on the supreme person, on the supreme absolute truth. And with this higher consciousness, with this complete transformation of his attitude, he was actually able to tolerate. He was actually able to tolerate all these things and just continued with his duties as a mendicant. So this is the story in full. So now you may ask, well, how does this exactly relate to me? It relates very much. So to analyze this story, what actually happened to Avanti Brahmana? He lost everything in his life. He lost all his wealth that was meant everything to him before because he was guarding it. Like he was just like, put so much effort, so much time into obtaining this wealth, and then he lost it. He lost all the affection of his relatives. Everybody rejected him. He was just alone and abandoned. So his previous attitude was like the attitude that most of us have. To be happy in this world, I need money, I need material assets, and I need the people around me to love me. Isn't this the attitude that we have? So this was his previous attitude. But when his spiritual knowledge reawakened in his heart, his attitude transformed. This material concept was transformed into a spiritual understanding. And spiritual understanding is, for my happiness, I do not need material assets. I do not need material wealth. I only need enough to cover my basic necessities. Why? Because my happiness comes from a spiritual source, because I'm a spiritual being. And even if other people don't like me, and even if other people reject me, I can still get my happiness from my connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with the Supreme Person, with a loving relationship with Him. So this is the change of the attitude that happened within his heart. And with this new attitude, he was able to tolerate because he had detachment in his heart. He knew this is just temporary. It is not going to last long. It is just temporary. I just have to continue with my spiritual duties, and I can already taste the spiritual happiness, which is coming from within, from my connection with the Supreme Person, and go on with my life. So how does this practically relate to us? When our attitude of what brings me happiness changes, with the help of spiritual knowledge, we can become detached, like Avanti Brahmana. And when we become detached, and when we actually obtain this proper attitude, this proper knowledge, proper mental concept of what true happiness means, then we are not dependent anymore on our happiness from the external situation in our life. And we can start experiencing happiness from within. And this is something that I will talk more about in the next 2 videos that are just about to come. And in the commentary, the comments, you can find, actually in the description box, not in the comments. You're welcome to write in the comments, but in the description box, you can read also there is a link for you for the entire song of Avanti Brahmana. And this song of Avanti Brahmana from Srimad Bhagavatam is extremely powerful. It is a spiritual sound vibration. And if you read it, if you recite it, and then meditate and contemplate upon its meaning, it will transform your present attitudes, and you will experience this relief from negative emotions. So please try it, and then let me know about your experience.